If you feel like your waiver wire is just so dull right now, I totally get it. But I guarantee we can find some guys out there that can really help your rosters in a lot of categories. So that is exactly what we're going to try and do today. I'm going to highlight some players that have promising outlooks, not just in the short term, but the long term as well, have underlying talent and youthfulness, and are currently dominating whichever level of baseball they're currently at, either in the majors or AAA. Those three things are so important in searching for that next potential difference maker on the wire. I'm also going to go over my waiver wire video from 2 weeks ago to see how those guys have performed, see how they're performing, see if a punishment is justified. Let me know if you guys liked that punishment last week on that double barrel. You want to make sure you stick around and catch that segment because a lot of these guys could still be available in some of your leagues and they deserve your attention. And if it was just an awful week of recommendations, hopefully you'll at least get a little satisfaction of watching me do something stupid. As always, I appreciate everyone watching these videos. Thank you. And if you guys are new here, I'm Chris. Welcome to Number 2 Sports, and like Dak Prescott says, here we go! So we'd briefly touched on this guy in last week's video, and I said if he kept hitting well, I'd do a more depth analysis for this week. So first up, we got Mr. Colt 45, Colt Keith from the Detroit Tigers. So going into a bit more depth on Colt, he's been swinging a nice bat lately in the last couple of weeks. He slowed down a little bit this week, even though he had 2 decent games back to back. But he has first base and second base eligibility, and that middle field option is what is most important, especially for 12-team leagues, because really, you don't have to be that great this year to be a valuable starter at the middle infield position and the second base position this year. This guy had some great moments last year as a rookie, highlighting his potential ceiling, especially if you look in July, where he had a 1.04 OPS and hit 7 home runs, showcasing that underlying talent and ability to produce at the highest level. And he's only 23 years old, remember. And that's what we're looking for our next breakout. Youth, talent, and upside, and he checks off all 3 of those boxes. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and roses last year, because the other 4 months were pretty crappy, but it just highlights, especially in today's MLB now, that rookies can be so volatile. If we look at this year, in the last month, he was 15 for 58 with 4 home runs, 10 RBI, and 483 slugging percentage, which is definitely playable at second base this year. He doesn't have the most pop in his bat, evidenced by his 86.1 mile per hour exit velocity, but the month of May has been his best month so far, where he's sitting around 88.9, which is showing improvement, and that's what you want with a young player like Colt. His season-long batting average is only 222, but I think he's been a little unlucky in that regard, because if you look at his expected batting average, it hovers around 270, which is decent, and he has a great eye at the plate. He's so patient, he let the pitches come to him, he's not going to overextend or overreach on anything, and that shows up in his chase percentage and walk rate this year. He's just not afraid to take walks, and he also has great contact ability. He's able to spray the ball, line drives all over the field, which will help elevate his floor, help get him on base, and he's batting third lately in Detroit, so it should be an ample spot for runs, hopefully for some RBI. He's going to lack in homers and steals, but again, he's a young kid, so there's always potential for a breakout that he's starting to figure things out in the majors. Can do so much worse than Keith for second base on the wire. I'd rather have Colt than a boring vet who's just going through a couple week hot streak at the dish. Next up, we have an exciting young pitcher who just finished his second career start, Logan Henderson from the Milwaukee Brewers. Logan has now had 2 good outings to start his MLB career, even though the second one came about a month after the first. As the first one, he just got a spot start against Athletics on 420, and his strikeout potential has just been on full display in both of them. He struck out 16 and 11 innings, and if you look at AAA, it's even more impressive. He has 40 strikeouts in 30 innings with a 2.4 ERA and only 11 batters walked. He has a 5-pitch arsenal with a 4-seamer, changeup, cutter, sinker, slider combo, but his best pitch is his changeup by far. It's his main put-away pitch. It's his one that he relies on the most to get a strikeout. And that's backed up by his 35.5 whiff rate on it, and batters are only batting 143 against it. It will and it should dominate right-handed batters. And I don't know if you've seen this guy's thighs, but holy freaking thunder thighs, man. It's making Robbie Ray jealous. That guy is juiced. He's definitely not skipping leg day like my boy MB does. And I know you might think that sounds a little sus, but hey, I give him props where props are due, man. It's hard to hit leg day, and he is hitting it. However, back to baseball though, he was pulled in his last outing after only 72 pitches, And in the 5th inning, he worked a clean inning. So it wasn't like that he was struggling or anything, and it shouldn't have been a workload concern because he is pretty stretched out already. What I think happened is Milwaukee was nervous. The heart of the order was coming up for the 3rd time because 2 through 4 was due up in the 6th. And I think the coaching staff just thought they'd pull him and let him see that order through the 3rd time. Again, where pitchers, especially young pitchers, can just get shelled, which sucks from a fantasy perspective because he didn't qualify for that quality start. I'm definitely intrigued by him after this latest start. So he's worth a look in 12-team leagues. The manager said that he should stick in the rotation spot for now. So keep your eye on him. Make sure he stays up. And if you need starting pitching, he's definitely someone to take a look at. He has a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and he's young. And I love chasing high upside strikeout players. Speaking of high upside strikeout players, that's exactly what this next pitcher is. Zebby Matthews from the Minnesota Twins. The Faceless Wonder is back. I know we talked about this guy a few weeks ago on my Mustache Prospect video, but it's finally here. He's finally called up. The time is now, boys. He's making his first start this year, this Sunday against the Brewers. At least for people that have to put in their bids or their waiver claims on Sunday, you can see who he does in that first start. Because if he gets absolutely blown up, you probably don't want to bid that much or waste that high of a priority. But if he has a great start, at least you can gauge and have some confidence if you got to spend up on that cheddar. But back to the stats, he's been outstanding at AAA this year. He has a 1.93 ERA and a 38-9 strikeout to walk ratio in 32.2 innings. The guy is absolutely dominating the kids down there. Now, people might look at his stats from last year and be like, man, this guy sucked. He got rolled in every start last year. And yeah, he kind of did. He still had a 43-11 strikeout to walk ratio in 37.2 innings, showcasing that elite strikeout potential. But what really did him in was the long ball. He was serving up way too many home runs. He needs to get that ground ball percentage up. He needs to make some improvement on his fastball and his secondary pitches. And he has this year. He's added 1.5 miles per hour on his fastball. And with his cutter hovering now around 92 miles per hour, it's a perfect fit with his slider, because that cutter is more dominant and more usable now against lefties. And then for right-handed batters, he can come back to that nasty slider when he's in need of a strike or a strikeout. If he can just make improvements on keeping the ball in the ballpark this year, I think he can be a very useful starter for 12-team leagues right out of the gate. He's just got to keep that ball in the park. He's never had any issues with walks. His command's always been very good, so I think that's still going to translate this year. Again, high strikeout player, young player, has all the tools, has all the underlying talent. Let's see if he made some improvements from his last stint in the majors, and he can be a useful starter for you. Let's keep this train rolling for young pitchers, high upside strikeout potential guys for this next one from the Milwaukee Brewers. Jacob Misiorowski. This guy is definitely more of a stash than like a must-add guy right now, since there isn't a for sure call-up date from him from AAA. But if you have an open NA spot and are in need of starting pitcher or want starting pitcher upside, I think he could be a very good option. But maybe I'm biased because you guys know I love dudes who chuck absolute gas. And man, does he chuck gas. He hit 103 on the radar gun on Thursday. 103. It still blows my mind that hitters can actually turn on these fastballs, chalking in at over 100 miles per hour. Just shows you how talented these guys really are. But if you have a pitch going in triple digits, man, what a weapon it can be. If you can complement that pitch with a nice secondary one like a slider, like Skeen does, man, it just makes hitters feel absolutely helpless at the dish. On top of the insane speed, he's an absolute monster on the mound. He's 6'7", so he has elite extension. And what that does, it makes the ball seem even faster for hitters. Tag that with one of the best curveballs in the minors right now and a low 90s slider, and you can see why he's one of the best power pitching prospects in the game. But wait, that's not even the best thing. He's added a changeup to his arsenal this year. He's only thrown it 23 times, but it's already got a 28.6 whiff percentage on it. The most important thing though, is he's worked on having that release point at the same horizontal and vertical extension as his fastball. So when it's leaving his hand, batters don't know if it's a fastball or changeup, but it's coming in around 6 miles per hour slower, and then it just has a nice tail off drop that just leaves batters helpless. Because before, batters could just sit on this fastball being like, okay, there's probably a good chance he's going to throw a fastball here and try and time it up. But now at the release point of his hand, if they don't know if it's a fastball or changeup, it'll allow him to get strikes more in the zone, allow him to throw people off, and it'll just open up his entire arsenal. There's 3 main things with flamethrowers like Jacob: command, command, command. He needs to harness this in if he wants to pitch deep into games, qualify for wins, qualify for quality starts, and pile up those strikeouts. He's walked 19 batters in 49.1 innings so far this year with a 1.46 ERA and 59 punchouts. The Brewers have dealt with a ton of injuries this year so far, so I don't think it's crazy that he could get a look soon. So if you have an open NA spot, I think he's a great stash. I usually always leave my token RP guy to the end of the video, but I'm going to put this one in a little bit earlier because we've got the good old Canadian kid, Matt Brash, off the Seattle Mariners. Go Mariners, by the way. And would you look at that? Finally don't have to draw a smiley face on this guy's picture. Matt was very solid in 2023, but then unfortunately he underwent Tommy John surgery and missed the entire 2024 season. But in 2023, he was very good at his setup role. He pitched 70.2 innings with a 3.06 ERA and a whopping 107 strikeouts. The guy was striking out everyone in 2023. His slider was one of the most unhittable pitches in baseball, and he threw it 51% of the time. It had a positive 15 run value, which is crazy. Just look at this at bat against one of the best hitters in baseball right now, Aaron Judge, in the top of the 8th inning. Anytime you're going to get one of the all-time great hitters swinging on 3 pitches out of the zone and not even being close on any of them, it's going to make some noise. Maybe I'm a little biased because he's Canadian, but this is the exact type of relief pitcher that I would love chasing. Undeniable raw talent with an absolute wipeout put away pitch, and he has youth on his side. He just needs to tinker on some of his secondary stuff, harnessing his control a little bit, and he can be a solid setup man behind Munoz for the Seattle Mariners this year. Next up, we have one of the best prospects in all of baseball, Marcelo Mayer, the shortstop from the Boston Red Sox. So as you've probably noticed in a few of these guys in this video, we have to dig deep into the waiver wire at this point of the year. But again, there is so much potential with some of these guys that you need to know about them, you need to stash them, and you need to stash them now before the price drives up when it gets close to the call-up date or when they do get called up. And Marcelo is the perfect example of that. He's one of the big 3 prospects in Boston, and he's been doing amazing in AAA so far this year. He has a healthy triple stash line with 8 home runs and 39 RBI in 38 games for AAA this year. His exit velocity is in the 90s. He has a max exit velocity of 111.2. He has an 18% strikeout rate and a 10% walk rate. All of that means he has all the underlying tools to be a stud in the MLB. Like, he started off this year with 30 RBI in 22 games when no one else in the league had more than 21. The path to the majors was never about the skill. It was always just about the fit, finding room for him. And right now, it looks like there's 2 possible ways for this to happen. It was recently seen that Christian Campbell has been taking reps at first base due to Tristan Casas' season-ending injury. Or also, Trevor Story has just been a dumpster fire at the dish lately. So there's thoughts of, if he has a continued cold streak, of moving him to maybe second base, calling Marcelo up, or who knows, buying him out. But the thing is, with this contract, they paid him so much money, it's going to take them a lot more than having a cold month of the dish to fully move on from him. Regardless, I don't think it's a matter of if anymore, it's just when. He's going to get called up, and I think he has the tools to be a difference maker for the fantasy community. Boston is coming to a crossroads here, and I think youth is their best option. One quick concern that I do have with them, though, with Boston scuffling a little bit, and then we get this mantra that these guys like Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer are going to be like the saviors of Boston's season. I think that adds a lot of unnecessary pressure on these young kids, so that does concern me a little bit, because you don't know how really they're going to act till they're up at the highest level, have that weight on their shoulders. But regardless, though, I think it's worth the risk. If you have an open spot, you should stash him now. I think he's going to get called up sooner rather than later. Next up, we have a former top prospect of the Dodgers who kind of ruined all his chances there. But we got Miguel Vargas of the Chicago White Sox. So as you can tell, it's another deep league ad. I'm not necessarily recommending grabbing him now. He's definitely someone to keep your eye on. He's a former top prospect of the Dodgers. He had a ton of underlying talent, or at least was supposed to. He's only 25 years old. He's getting a second shot here with a new organization, new city in Chicago, and he's making the most of it right now. He made a swing change in the offseason, and even though he started off the season pretty crappy, he seems like he's got his foot underneath him now, and it seems like it's paying a lot of dividends. He's been amazing the last couple of weeks. He's 28 for 90 over the last month, with 5 home runs and 13 RBI. And I think the biggest thing for him, moving from a place like the Dodgers, where all eyes are on you 24/7, to a place like Chicago, where they're absolutely terrible this year, there's zero pressure to perform, it can really help one of these guys that are a former top prospect that have kind of sputtered out of the gate and not left up that hefty prospect status that they started their careers with. And it looks like with that pressure off him, he started to play really well. Again, he's playing for the White Sox, who are terrible. So his RBI numbers aren't going to be there. And it looks like he's going to be a complete zero in the steals category. So his path to fantasy success is a little bit narrower than most people, but he has the ability to do it. Strikeouts and his whiff rate aren't an issue for him, so that helps a lot for these young guys. It's not as big of a drastic change for them to get to a path of fantasy relevance. So someone to keep your eye on for sure. He's shown flashes in the past again. It's not like he's been a complete dud. He's shown potential. He's just not been able to consistently do it over time. So someone to keep your eye on for sure. See if he's started to make these changes. See if they're making a big impact. And then he's consistently doing it. That's the key here. Consistency. All right, we're saving the best for last. I know we had briefly talked about him in last week's video. But again, Matt Shaw, third baseman from the Chicago Cubbies. I won't spend a lot of time on this guy again, but I just feel like I have to mention him because he just homered again twice on Thursday. He's only 19% rostered. He's going to get called up very soon. And I just think he has the skills and he'll have the opportunity to potentially be a huge difference maker for fantasy squads throughout the rest of the year. He's now batting 344, 440, 641 with 4 homers and 5 steals in his last 17 games for AAA. Like, that is amazing stuff from a fantasy perspective. I know I said this in the last video, but he's the Cubs' best option at third base in the present and the future. So it's not a matter of if, it's just when he's going to get his second chance. John Birdie isn't keeping Shaw in the minors. Let's be real. He has the potential to be a solid all-around hitter. He's not going to blow you away with power, but he's patient, takes what's given to him. He drives breaking balls, drives fastballs, and the hope is the more accustomed he gets to major league pitching, the more power will eventually come to his game. The speed, the steals is what's really going to dictate his fantasy game from being a fringe starter to being a must-start guy across the board. Definitely someone to keep your eye on. Stash him now. The call-ups can be happening soon. Okay, so this segment, we're definitely going to rapid fire some names here, but these are guys that I think that should be rostered in way more leagues based on the Yahoo percentages. First up, repeat guy, Jacob Wilson. He should be way more owned in shallow leagues. He could single-handedly win you hits for the week, and his power's been showing up lately. The guy looks legit this year. Then next up, we have Reese Olson. He just fired 6 innings of shutout ball. It looks like he's a full-on breakout. His stuff looks electric. He should be owned way more. Chris Bubich is only at 87. I don't know why he's not like 100% owned, especially if you're punting safe because he has that relief pitching eligibility. Guy is a stud. His only concern will be workload things later in the year, but you can cross that bridge when it happens or if it does happen. Andy Pages, only 64% rostered. This hot streak has continued. He's smacking homers left, right, and center, playing in a loaded Dodgers lineup. Former top prospect, has all the underlying tools. This could be a legit breakout for him. He needs to be rostered on more teams to see if this is actually legit. Because if it is, sky's the limit for him. Kyle Stowers, 63% rostered. He's ranked 16 over the last 30 days in Yahoo. The guy is tearing the cover off the baseball right now. It's looking legit. I don't know if it's going to last, but can you risk it? Jeremy Pena, 80% rostered. He's getting hits every day. He's playing the top of a decent lineup. He's showing power. He's showing the ability to run. Needs to be on pretty much everyone's roster. Bubba Chandler, only 32% rostered, is criminal. This guy could legit be an ace right off the bat. His stuff is electric. He's dominating every outing in AAA. This guy needs to be stashed everywhere. I don't get it. Dylan Moore, 56% roster. He's back from his little injury and he looks like he's still continued to hit. Biggest thing with him, he has second base eligibility. There is not many guys in deep leagues that are better than him. He should be way more rostered. And the same thing goes with Jonathan Aranda again. I don't know why this guy isn't in the 80s, 90s. His breakout is legit. He needs to be on more rosters. Zach Nato, again, I don't know how this guy's only 70% rostered. He's ranked 27 in the last 30 days in Yahoo. Guy's a stud. He's hitting the ball so well. And then Rhys Hoskins looked like he's all the way back from his injuries. He could be a useful guy. He should be way more owned on rosters in need of a corner infield spot. And lastly, this one even feels weird saying, but Javier Baez, only 67% rostered. Imagine saying that at the beginning of the year or over the last 2 years. But man, his hot streak is still going. He looks different at the plate. I think he needs to be on everyone's roster until the wheels fall off. Okay, this is kind of like an emergency ad here. I was about to post this Sunday morning, but I needed to add this in because I just heard the news. Jose Alvarado getting hit with an 80-game suspension for juicing. Like, no wonder the guy was absolute lights out this year. That's a huge loss for the Phillies bullpen, and it's going to have a ripple effect throughout their entire lineup. I think first up for saves is going to be Jordan Romano. He's been back lately. He's been good. He's done it in Toronto. He's proven it time and time again. He used to be one of the top closers. I think he's going to get the first look, and he's going to be the guy that I'm going to chase in all my leagues. I think he is a must-add. Again, Jose was great in that role and in the setup role. Philly's going to win a ton of games. There's going to be so many save opportunities. You have to go get Jordan Romano now. Okay, next up, we're going to go into the recap segment. And again, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on these guys. We're going to recap my video from 2 weeks ago. We're just going to quickly see how they're doing, see how they perform, see if there's a punishment justified. And again, make sure you check this out because a lot of these guys could still be floating on your wire and they could really help out your teams in a lot of areas. First up, we had Andy Paez, who's been amazing. He's ranked 17 in the last 2 weeks. The hot streak continued. I know I was a little nervous about it, saying that it obviously can't be this good, and it hasn't been that good from that ridiculous stretch that he had. But still, he's looking like he's going to be an everyday useful player. And I think you need to add him where he's available and just see if he can sustain this level of success because he's looked so good in a, again, loaded Dodgers lineup. Matt Shaw, I know we talked about it again earlier in this video, and now it's been 2 weeks in a row. That's just how hype I am on him. If he's available in your league, go stash him. It's going to happen soon. Let's see if he made some adjustments down in AAA, get some confidence back, and see if he can be a difference maker for fantasy squads down the stretch. Jordan Beck has been great for Colorado. He's ranked 54 for the last 2 weeks. He's been tearing the cover off the ball. He's hitting home runs. He's getting a lot of hits. He's getting some swipes, and he's batting in the top 3, top 4 spot. Even though Colorado lineup isn't that great, half the home games are played in Colorado, so you know the ball flies out of there. I think he's been a great pickup. He should be rostered in more leagues. Kyle Stowers was kind of another guy who was going through an insane hot streak, and I kind of had to temper expectations because obviously this stuff isn't sustainable over a full 162 game season. But again, he's been playing great. He's been crushing the ball, hitting home runs, getting hits, piling up those RBI numbers, getting on base at a decent clip. I think he should definitely be rostered in more leagues just to see if he can continue this success. Because again, he was a former top prospect. He has all the underlying tools. Let's just see how far this goes. Fernando Cruz was definitely recommended for his strikeout potential because again, he's like in a middle relief role. And unfortunately, he had 2 blow-up games, which sucks, especially when you're just plugging this guy in to help lower your ratios because you're not really getting the holds, getting those saves. So you want that lower peripherals and high strikeout numbers. So this one is an L for sure. My bad. But again, sometimes it just happens with relievers and they're just going to totally screw you over in a week. Next up, we had Clayton Kershaw, and I talked about him again for a few weeks. His first start did not go well at all. He got crushed. I don't know, man. I'll take the L for that for sure, but I still believe in him. I need to see this happen either like 2, 3 more times to believe that he's just completely fallen off a cliff. He had so much rest. He hasn't pitched in so long. I want to see how he does over his next couple starts before I'm completely taking the L. Luis Gil, not going to talk too much about him. He's just a guy to stash. Probably be back in the next month or so. If you have an open IL spot, you know what he did last year. He has a potential to be a difference maker down the stretch for some teams in need of starting pitching. And then last up, we had Tony G. And he's been great. He's striking out people at a decent clip. His last outing, he went 5 scoreless. As long as he can stay healthy, I think he'll be useful in 12-team leagues for those in need of a solid back-end starter. So I guess the recap for this is, yeah, I'll take the L for Cruz, and I'm going to take a partial L for Kershaw. I'll do a bigger L if his next 2 starts are just like the first, but I'm not giving up on him yet. Maybe I'm crazy. Call me crazy. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think about Kershaw and his outlook the rest of the year. All right, we're getting in the cold plunge here. 43 degrees, pretty freezing. We're gonna shotgun a beer. Let's see how this goes. Okay, before we go, I almost forgot about it, but I got to give a shout out to Jhonny Pereda, wherever you pronounce that. I probably butchered it, with his at-bat against Shohei Ohtani. And Jhonny is a position player, so he's not an MLB pitcher, but I thought this was just hilarious. I was trying to add him, panic at him in all my leagues, man. That backpedal off the mound just had me dying. Second he gets starting pitching eligibility, I'm claiming him, bro. I'm dumping an entire fab on him. So that's everything for this video. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys liking this video, subbing, commenting down below. It's awesome. Thank you. I hope you guys have a great week. Good luck in your leagues. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.